Real quick, I want to do a fair use. Meanwhile, they're telling you this thing comes out of China, and there's this mosquito that bites you with this thing. Here it is, the New York Post. So China reveals or unveils eerie, right, mosquito-sized drones designed for stealth, right? And it's a military operations nearly invisible to the naked eye, right? So was this the Economic Times basically saying the same thing, especially on defense. China shows a 0.6 cm spy drone that is smaller than fingertip but can paralyze a large army, right? Okay, yeah, so China has revealed mosquito-like flying robot designed for stealth missions targeting triggering global concerns like about about potential use in surveillance, cyber crimes, and even bio warfare. Oh shit! See, right. See, even in bio warfare developed by China's National University of Defense Technology, the NUDT, the insect-sized drone was recently featured on CCTV 7, the country's official military channel. Huh? Yeah, so this is Second Esdras, chapter 15, verse 10. Behold, which means feast your eyes, look, pay attention. My people, which are you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, you Israelites around the world, right? Those who look like the Negro, the Latino, and the Native American, and those who phenotype may look like another nation, but your bloodline goes back to Israel through your father, right? This is you're the Lord's people, right? You know, and is led as a flock to the slaughter, because a lot of you believe in the colonialism, imperialism of your oppressor, and some of them you think you are the so-called white man or the so-called Chinese, right? You don't know who you are, right? Even a lot of you so-called Negroes and Latinos, you think you're an American, you think you're Spanish, you think you're French, you think you're wherever you're at, you think you're of those people. But the Lord's dealing with a bloodline and lineage of the holy people, and there's a separation between the holy and the profane, right? And then those that do not, right, want to separate, right? You're going to be led as a flock to the slaughter, right? And I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt. And that main place, when it's speaking of Egypt, it's speaking of America, Babylon the Great, which is spiritually Egypt, right? But this whole world has a grip of the spirit of Egypt on it, the spirit of Babylon on it. Why? Because the self-proclaimed so-called white man, right? The earth is given into the hands of the wicked, right? He covered the face of the judges thereof. If not, and where, who is he, right? These are the things that they bring, right? Because on a totalitarian scale, the dollar, as of May, as it be right now, is a world reserve currency, and there is a pyramid on the back of the dollar bill, right? Which represents what Egypt. So that spirit is pretty much throughout the whole world. It's not as prevalent as it is in America, but it's there, right? Because they're still enslaving people via cargo slave ships, and also through being what is it being dictators, you know, and you know, debt and all these other different things that they have you under, as far as, you know, Egypt is synonymous with bondage or oppression, and the whole world is oppressed. But the main place is here, that land which of Egypt, which is America, Babylon the Great. It says, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, right? Which that main place is going to get hit is America, even though it will be in all different places around the world. As you can see, during the time of the CV-19, it locked down the entire planet, right? A you know, a pandemic. Well, be it may or be it not, hey, it shut down the globe, right? Via through the Lord smiting it with plagues as before, right? And that those things are going to enhance, and I will destroy all the land thereof, right? That's this place. America is going to be totally destroyed. But hey, all around the world, there's different things that's actually happening with different pestilence and plagues and things that's affecting the planet. Why? Because the spirit of the self-proclaimed so-called white man is throughout the planet, man. The oppression. Egypt shall mourn, which is America, but the whole world is going to mourn. And the foundations of it shall be smitten with plagues and punishments that the power, the Most High Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, shall bring upon it. And as you can see, here it is. They're telling you about these mosquitoes and this and that and these different ticks and this and that. But then, oh, wait a minute. China, right, also, you know, has this spy mosquito, and it is also a bioweapon, right? So so you're getting these plagues, how do you know where it came from? They're going to, oh, it was this exotic tick, or oh, it was this mosquito that bit you, and now that's why you have this disease. But how do you know it's not this this drone that's capable of being a bioweapon, right? Yeah, it's Deuteronomy 28 and 59. Then Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, will make thy plagues wonderful, right? See, and these are things that's happening, man, right? All these different plagues and things are actually happening on the earth, And the Lord said that He's going to do it um, like He did the plagues in Egypt before, right? So that means there has to be another place that's like Egypt, right, to do it again. And that's going to be America, Babylon the Great. But then also because the the Edomites' grip is upon the entire world, the world is going to be affected, right? And you know, wonderful. And the plagues of thy seed, and even great plagues, and of long continuance, and sore sickness, right? And that's the thing that they're bringing upon the earth, right? And the long and of long continuance, right? And that's Esau ultimately altogether, right? Because that's how he gets down. Matter of fact, right. So this is Sirach 10:9 says, "Why is earth and ashes proud?" Right, talking about you nations, all you heathen nations. The main one is Esau, Edom, right? There is not a more wicked thing than the covetous man, because what are you coveting? The blessing that belongs to Jacob, right? See, the whole thing is you're trying to hold out your so-called rulership, and you want the blessing. You want the blessing, and no, you just can't have it. It was never meant to be yours from the beginning. Before uh, Jacob and Esau came out of the womb, it was already preordained from the father for Jacob. But then your father, you sold it. You sold it for some for uncooked food, uncooked, unfinished lentils, man. Right, right. So now you just covetous of the blessing of your brother Jacob, and you're just wicked. There's nothing more wicked than that. For such and one setteth his own soul, to sell, right? And that's what you do. That's under the Illuminati, under all these things that they set up things so that way you have to sell your soul in order to be so-called someone in society, right? Because while he liveth, he casteth away, yeah, his bowels, right? You sold your birthright, right? You didn't have no integrity. So this is how you continuously live, and insatiably. You just impulse. Everything you do based on, you know, do it thy will. And because of that, your thing is to try to destroy Jacob. And how you do that is what? By these different diseases. It says the physician cutteth off long disease, and he that is today a king, tomorrow shall die. Right? See, at the end of the thing, what you're trying to poison the world, destroy the world by disease. And at the end of the thing, you're gonna die. Right? You're never gonna live on forever. Right? Your kingdom, all this stuff is about to be a wrap. Yeah, because what Yahweh Shai is the physician that's gonna cut you off. Right? You're gonna get cut taken out of the world. But before you do that, you're the long disease. That's all you do is bring diseases and different things into the planet. See, that's the long continuancy, and then that long disease is Esau. So it says, moreover, he will bring upon thee all the diseases of Egypt, right? See, and all the diseases of Egypt are upon this place, right? And this is the part that which thus was afraid of, and they shall cleave unto thee, right? And this is the point right here. Also, every sickness and every plague which is not written in the book, right? So you got all these different diseases that no one ever heard of. Those things didn't exist. HPV, AIDS, HIV. What's this thing? Fuck, I forgot the name of it. Is it the Zika virus? Make a baby's head shrink and all this other stuff. I mean, that's crazy, right? You know, Beetlejuice, a little baby. You know, you know, and they got these different I don't know, just all these different diseases that's never existed before, right? Which we know that's coming from Esau, but not just Esau. It's coming from Moab. It's coming from, from the so-called Chinese, right? The CV-19, right? A so-called, a sickness that can all of a sudden, which never existed, which they tell you that they're being mad scientists, and now diseases that only affect animals are now all of a sudden able to affect humans, right? Allegedly, right? Right? Under conspiracy theories, allegedly, right? Which is not written in the book, right, of the law. Them will Yahweh bring upon thee until thou be destroyed. See, and ultimately, Esau and Moab being mad scientists, the Lord puts that forth. No one perishes being innocent, right? Yeah, so this is Job 4 and 7. Remember, I pray thee, right? Whoever perished being innocent. See? And people die. But when you die and you get these diseases, you get these different things, hey, who got those things being innocent? It hasn't happened, right? Or where were the righteous cut off? So if you were righteous, how did you just drop dead or do whatever? Not unless in the times that the Lord set it up for people to be martyrs, or even when the young guy who was born blind, and it wasn't because of his mother's sin nor his past sins. It was all for the sake of the kingdom, right? And the Lord healed him, and then the guy followed him, right? Which is symbolic to the times when we were blind. We We thought we know what we were going on. We thought what we saw was truth, was life. But until the Lord opens your eyes to see the truth, now, hey, now you can follow the Lord, truly. Not under Christianity, not under any Catholicism of any kind, not under Islam or, any madness that's out there. You're following the true and living power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, right? And the righteous will not be cut off. Even as I have seen, they that plow iniquity, right? So you're and it's using it as like a farming term, right? When you're you're out there, you're plowing, and when you're plowing to what it says to soften the ground, right? Till the ground, soften up the what is it, fallow ground, right? One of the things the Lord says about changing your heart, right? So he used those terms in righteousness, but he's even using it for your wickedness in those terms, because you're plowing iniquity and sowing, right? So you plow and then you sow, you throw down the seed, and that seed be wickedness, right? You're gonna reap what you sow, right? As the scriptures say, right? It's the same thing. Reap the same. See? So, by the blast of the power of the Most High Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, they perish. And that's what the Lord's about to bring upon this earth. Even if it's through Esau and Moab, right, collectively coming together, being mad scientists, and these bio weaponries, and by the breath of his nostril, they are consumed. See? Yeah, so this is Amos chapter 3, verse 5. Can a bird fall into a snare? Right? And that's ultimately what Esau's doing. And that's how the Lord set up Esau. Right? The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. And it tells you that Esau is the Lord's sword. He's the Assyrian, the rod of his anger, of indignation upon you Jakes, upon you Israelites. So even when they're making bio weaponry of any kind, even the micro hip, these are things that he has set this man up to come against you, right? To be his whooping stick, right? And says, can a bird fall into a snare upon the earth where is no jinn? Right? And the jinn is basically a snare to a trap, right? So if you go to a snare, is there not a snare there? Of course there's snares. There's a jinn. There's a trap. It's for him, right? And a lot of you are unsuspecting. You mean, oh, I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican, I'm this, everything is good. And then meanwhile, you have certain people complaining about how the food is rising, how this is this and that, and none of your government, none of your presidents, none of them have ever did anything that they said they were going to do. But somehow you people run back to the polls. Somehow you just hope. You have more hope in this system than you do in the Most High. But that's okay, because this is how you get judged. Shall one take up a snare from the earth and have taken nothing at all? Shall one take up a snare from the earth and have taken nothing at all? Ask yourself. So a person's going out to go hunt, and sometimes you can go out and hunt and maybe you catch nothing. But when you got a bazillion suckers and they all being led to the flock, they as a flock to the slaughter, chances are you're not going to come up empty-handed. A lot of you Jakes, a lot of you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Indian are going to fall into the trap. No, they're not going to pick up their snare and have nothing at all, because a lot of you, you're not listening. You're not paying attention. So we're giving you the fair warning. But hey, shall the trumpet be blown in the city, and the people not be afraid? See, so we're warning you about the traps and the things and the biometrics, the bio weaponry. Warning you about these things. But hey, don't listen to the Lord, to the men that the Lord set up to tell you, right? Thus saith the Lord. Don't listen to that. You can do your own thing. Should you not be afraid? And the people not be afraid? Shall there be evil in the city, and Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, have not done it? So, I mean, at the end of the day, the Lord set up Esau and Moab to do these things, right? Yeah, so this is 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 46. It says, and thou, Asia, right, which dealing with Moab, and not to mention Ammon, right, the so-called Chinese and the Japanese, because they the ones who help America a lot, right? Matter of fact, they both, China and Japan, which is Moab and Ammon, carries a great percentage of America's debt, right? Thou Asia, that are partner of the hope of Babylon. They're in their partnership with trying to help keep this place prominent, keep it going, right? You know, and the CV-19 is a clear example of the help that they have given this place, right? It says, and are the glory of her person, right? You know, so this this whole thing, and they give you this thing like they're coming against each other, which they probably disagree here and there, but the overall, they got a greater agenda, so they put their differences aside, right? But it says, woe be unto thee, thou rich, because thus hast made thyself like unto her. See? And at the end of the day, look, they want to be like Babylon. They want to be like America, right? And thou and has decked thy daughters in whoredom, right? Basically dealing with the country, the countrymen, different things. Hey, they're in a bad scenario too. See what they're doing? You know, these weapons ain't just for them to fight each other. These weapons are to go against the Lord. So they most likely they transfer ideas for weaponry, because the weaponry is to be used against the Lord when he comes, and against the Lord's people, right? So, you know, so they're fully submersed in this place, right? Right, matter of fact, the troops that they're gonna bring, right? You think it's just gonna be the National Guard? No, you're gonna have Chinese troops, Japanese troops on the shores of America, kicking in people's doors, right? Because they made themselves one with her, right? And it says, that thy mighty, right? See, that thy might please, that they might please and glory. Yeah, they might please and glory in thy lovers, right? Being they got this emphatic love for the self-proclaimed so-called white man, which have always desired to commit whoredom with thee, right? They've always had this thing where they did business together, right? They were always in business together. It's a business term, says that they're in bed with each other, which that's what they're saying. Not that literally that they're doing something, but they're in business together. They're in cahoots. They're in bed with each other, right? I wash your back, you wash my back, right? They're always doing favors for each other, right? Whether if it's political hits and murders and whatever they may have to do, right? Allegedly, right? These are the things that they do for each other, right? It says, thou has followed her that is hated in all her works. See, no matter what, somehow, even though China is part of the BRICS nations, somehow China, which is Moab, they always somehow are still interconnected with Babylon. Ammon also, even though I guess eventually they're gonna hate the whore and they're all gonna shoot missiles on this place, but they're so intertwined with this place. So Moab, which is the so-called Chinese, and Ammon, which is so-called Japanese, inventions. See, and bio weapons are inventions, man. Right? Things that plagues that's not in the law, right? The new plagues that the Lord didn't even. Those are, hey, the Lord didn't create those plagues, but the plagues are going to come, and the Lord's going to give him permission to bring forth those plagues. Where therefore saith the Lord. See, the Lord said, hey, I'm going to invent all sorts of new things, and he's saying, hey, go ahead and invent those things, because it's all for the these different robots and robot dogs and Terminators that robot killing robots and this and that and drones and man, forget about it. Laser guns and things that they create, and they got all sorts of inventions, right? CV-19 in itself was an invention, right? And then the Lord said, I will send plagues upon thee, upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, pestilence, right? See? To waste thy houses with destruction and death, and the glory of thy power shall be dried up as a flower in the heat. Yeah, flower, the heat shall rise, that sin that is sin over it, right? It's going to be dried up like when the sun comes out and dries it all up. When it's cut off and dried up, right? Thou shall be weakened as poor women, right? Because they have the entire, they have between the so-called Japanese, which is Ammon, and the so-called Chinese, which is Moab, has a great bulk of America's debt. When America fall, they're going to go into poverty, right? And thou shall be weakened as a poor woman with stripes and as one chastened with wounds, right? So that the mighty and the lovers, right? Your military, your your military industrial, or your lovers like America, or can't back you up. And the same thing for America. America is going to fall. These things are going to happen to America, and China ain't going to be able to help you because they're going to be going through their own calamity. So the mighty, your military, or your lover's military, right? These countries that you're attached to shall not be able to receive thee. See, they're going to be able to help you, ain't going to be able to receive you, right? It says, woe, right? This is Second Ezra chapter 16. Woe be unto thee, Babylon, which is America, and Asia, right? Moab and Ammon, they're gonna get it. Woe unto them, which means judgment. Judgment is still gonna come. Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria, which is basically America, because America's Egypt and America's Syria, right? Girt up yourselves with sackcloth and hair, bewail your children, and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand. See, then they're going to be destroyed. The money, the economy is going to fall, and no matter what, how close of ties they are, and that they're lovers, and they make all this money together because America, like China has become the great industrial place, and then America's the great consumer, the whore, right? No matter how close they came together, they're going to be a sword is sent upon you. See, and who may turn it back? See, and at the end of the day, they're gonna end up fighting each other anyway, right? Because World War III is going to happen. A fire is sent among you, and who may quench it? See, and then so they're going to get angry with each other. They're going to be fighting with each other, and they're going to send these nuclear missiles at each other. And it says, plagues are sent unto you, and what is he that may drive it away? Right? Yeah, it says, may any man drive away a hungry lion in the wood, or may any one quench the fire in the stubble when it has begun to burn? See, and these plagues, these things that they're doing, it's going to get out of control, right? World War III is going to happen. Everything that they're trying to prevent and trying to stop it from happening, and trying to keep the blessing for Esau, trying to establish these things, because probably a lot of them so-called Chinese are actually Esau, right? Because they then crept up in there and mingled with them, because Chinese people are initially supposed to be a dark-skinned people themselves. Who the hell are these super white-looking Chinese people, right? And Japanese people, right? A lot of them might be Edomites in itself. So this is it's all the charades and games, but the Lord's going to have it where the gloves are going to get taken off, and they're gonna fight each other. World War III is going to happen. No more being lovers, no more being friends, no more trading goods, and right? Matter of fact, see, yeah, might as well just get that. And yeah, I just go up to here. and then I'll be done. It says, may one turn away the arrow, right? It said, may one turn away the arrow that is shot of a strong archer, right? Which is talking about the ICBM missiles. So eventually, these things are going to happen. These things are going to occur, right? It says, the mighty Lord, out of one, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakodash, sendeth the plagues. See, they're going to have all these different diseases, different things, and people are going to be angry, especially when it spins out of control, that even the so-called elites, these people who think they're in control, think they're so smart, the Lord's going to show you, you're not really that smart. It's going to go run rampant, and even it's going to affect even these people who are supposed to be elites, right? Because the Lord only wants particular elites to survive, so that way they'll be the first fruits of slavery, right? And just to show them that you don't have it all together, you know. It's beautiful. And who is he that can drive them away? See, once these nuclear missiles start happening, once the fight, once the fire is kindled between these nations, and they're angry with each other, and they're fully committed to fight each other. Once these things happen and missiles are shot, hey, ain't no turning that back. What are you gonna do? Ain't no changing that. All right. So the mighty, sending plagues. Yeah, the diseases, different things that they created. Esau and Moab and Ammon's created these things, but then it's gonna affect it, and they're gonna get turned. Bro, it's gonna be out of their hands. These robots, I believe, are gonna be out of their hands. Demons are gonna possess them, and they ain't gonna have control over all the things that they think they were supposed to have control over. Who can drive them away? Yeah. It says, a fire shall go forth from his wrath. Whose wrath? Really the Most High's wrath. And who is he that may quench it? See? Once the Lord is angry, and then he taps into the minds of these different nations who all has weaponry, which that's what the Lord tells you. Is it Jeremiah? All that bend at the bow, shoot at her, which is talking about Babylon, which is America. All them, even China, even though they love you, even though y'all in bed with each other, y'all do a lot of business with each other, make a lot of money, billions and trillions and trillions and billions and trillions of dollars. All that love of making that money and all that thing is going to go out the window. Right? The Lord's going to cause hatred between these nations. Hey. And then once the missiles are shot, all these things, who's going to turn it back? And who's going to quench the fire? Nobody. So with all that, I want to give all praises and all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachahakodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, the elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold, Shalom. To you sisters, your Achwathium, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. And the Bible ball, Kwam Yasharallah.